Welcome to the deep dive. If you're anything like us, you were completely gripped, maybe horrified, definitely left staring at the screen after Squid Game season one.
Oh, absolutely. A global phenomenon, wasn't it?
Totally. That first season just plunged us into this like raw, visceral world, high stakes, doesn't even begin to cover it.
Mm-hmm. Every choice, life, or, well, a pretty
Yeah.
brutal death.
Yeah, exactly. And it left us with those intense memories, red light, green light, that terrifying doll, but also just so many questions hanging in the air.
So many. About the games, the organization behind it all, and of course, Sangar Honey. What happened next?
Right. We've all been waiting, holding our breath, really, and now finally that curtain's been pulled back.
Indeed. And our mission today is to really meticulously dissect all of it. Every intricate plot twist, every shocking revelation, and the deep thematic stuff in Squid Game Season 2. It premiered December 26, 2024.
We're going right into the heart of it.
Exactly. This deep dive, it's designed to pull that curtain right back. We'll guide you through the core of the organization, revealing its dark, frankly terrifying, and deeply rooted underbelly,
Yeah.
like in unprecedented detail.
We've really dug into the sources.
We have poured over exclusive material, comprehensive reports, character breakdowns, plot analysis, a whole lot to bring you the most important nuggets of knowledge and insight.
That's right. Today, we are taking a full-on plunge into Squid Game Season 2. Think of this as your ultimate shortcut.
Your cheat sheet, maybe.
Oh, yeah. Your cheat sheet to being fully, shockingly well-informed about this next unforgettable chapter. It's an epic, morally challenging story. Continues. We're going to unpack the core details right from the start. Gellhan's return, the new faces, the deadly new games.
Then venturing deep into the horrifying truth of the Empire running these things.
Get ready, because honestly, it's a wild ride. Pushes boundaries, human desperation, the sheer scale of the evil. It's intense.
It really is.
Okay, let's start right there. 3 years later, Seong Gi.
Our reluctant hero.
Yeah, the guy who defied the odds, walked away with the prize, the last survivor. But the source material, it paints a very different picture. Not victorious.
Far from it.
3 years on, he's absolutely haunted. That money, what was it? 45.6 billion won.
A staggering amount.
Untouched, just sitting in his bank account. A constant, sickening reminder of the 455 lives lost for his survival.
Imagine carrying that weight.
Seriously. The reports talk about profound survivor's guilt, nightmares, vivid replays of the worst moments.
Red light, green light screams. The glass bridge falls.
Oh, God, yeah. The pleas of people he couldn't save. He's basically living in self-imposed isolation. Can't enjoy anything, can't connect with anyone.
Sees ghosts everywhere.
Literally, seeing the faces of the fallen and strangers. This is not the triumphant hero we might have expected. He's just burdened, weighed down. It sets a really heavy, melancholic tone right from the start.
And what's really compelling, I think, is how that internal struggle, that deep pain, becomes the actual catalyst for his next huge decision.
Right.
Our reports show that despite all this torment, he finds out, through what feels less like chance and more like, I don't know, a cruel twist of fate, that the games, they're still running.
Oh, man, still going on.
Still going. And this isn't just information for him. It hits him like a moral imperative. It completely changes his path.
Because he was planning on leaving, right? Going to the U.S.
Exactly. The initial plan was understandable. Escape, reunite with his daughter, maybe try to outrun the demons, get away from the blood money, the trauma.
Makes sense.
But knowing the games are still happening, still preying on the desperate, the vulnerable, that changes everything. It's a profound shift.
From self-preservation to something else.
To this deep, unwavering resolve. He decides to stay in South Korea. And his mission becomes terrifyingly clear, to bring down the organization from the inside.
Wow.
His evolution is key this season. From reluctant participant just trying to survive to this determined, principled rebel. Driven by redemption, responsibility for those who died. It's the core arc.
Okay, let's unpack that, because deciding to bring down the organization is huge. How does someone who barely survived that nightmare even begin to re-enter the belly of the beast?
Right? It's not simple. The sources detail some meticulous and, frankly, kind of ingenious and painful steps he takes.
Painful.
Yeah. First, he has to track down a recruiter. This isn't easy. It takes weeks, maybe months. Painstaking work, observing places, following whispers, always fearing recognition or worse.
High stakes from the get-go.
Absolutely. Then once he finds one, he uses a fake identity. Forged documents, a carefully crafted backstory, blending back in as just another desperate soul.
Okay, that makes sense. And the painful part?
This is where it gets
And yeah.
uptight. He gets a tooth-implanted GPS device.
Sorry, what? In his tooth.
Yeah, a tooth implant with a GPS tracker. Imagine the commitment, embedding the mission quite literally into his body.
That is extreme. It speaks volumes about his resolve.
Yeah, it really does. It's not just stealth. It's deep planning, willingness to endure more pain, sacrificing his own physical autonomy.
And he's not totally alone in this, you mentioned.
No, the reports mention an unnamed former detective ally, a shadowy figure from his past.
Ah, okay. Helping him.
Seems so. Providing critical intelligence, helping with the fake ID, maybe even the GPS tooth thing. It hints at a wider network, maybe a nascent rebellion forming against the games.
So it's not just a one-man mission anymore.
Exactly. It's a calculated collaborative effort, infiltrating this seemingly impenetrable fortress.
Okay, so while Gi-hun is doing that, which is already insane, the focus shifts to Detective Hwang Jun.
Yes. The character we all thought was gone, remember, fell off the cliff in Season 1 after that confrontation with his brother, the frontman.
Presumed dead,
Yeah.
but he survived.
He survived, which is, quite a relief for many viewers, I think. The reports confirm he's alive and kicking.
And what's he been up to for 3 years?
Connecting his own relentless, independent investigation into the frontman, into the elusive VIPs.
So how did he survive the fall? That was a big question.
The sources clarify that. Found by a fishing boat, barely alive, badly injured, but driven by this intense need for justice, for answers.
Okay.
Spent months recovering in secret, then dedicated himself to tracking the organization, meticulously piecing together the VIP network using old police contacts, his understanding of his brother's methods, hunting from the shadows.
So his return sets up this parallel story.
Exactly. A critical parallel narrative. Runs alongside Gi-hun's infiltration. Adds another layer of intrigue. Shows the game's reach isn't just on that island.
So we have two key figures tangled up with the organization, working towards justice from different angles.
One inside the arena, one investigating the architects. It's a fascinating dynamic.
And of course, a new season means new players. 456 fresh faces.
And it's not just cannon fodder, right? These aren't just victims in waiting. Each one brings a unique dynamic, new motivations, potential alliances, conflicts.
Definitely. The sources highlight some really compelling new characters. Let's talk about them. First up,
Yoo, the North Korean defector.
right, which immediately tells you something about her resilience, her past struggles, escaping one oppressive system.
Only to walk into another, in a way. But there's a twist.
A big one. She's not just a player, she's undercover, posing as a staff member, a cleaner.
Blending in. And her mission, not to win.
No, it's humanitarian, helping other players from within. Think about that irony. A defector, escaping tyranny, now willingly entering this deadly trap to subvert it.
It's incredibly complex. Blurs the lines, participant, humanitarian, spy, constantly at risk.
Definitely adds a fascinating moral layer. Then there's Choi Young-bae.
Her former prison guard.
Yeah. His background gives him this, unsettling understanding of authority, rules, confinement.
And he connects with Gi-hun quickly, becomes his closest ally this season.
What are the implications of a former guard being a player?
Well, he understands the system differently, maybe more cynically. His experience with human nature under duress, it makes him pragmatic, maybe jaded, but also capable of real loyalty.
So their alliance is key.
A bedrock of the human drama this season. A test of trust in a place designed to destroy it.
Next, Min Ji-yeon, the pregnant woman.
Oh, that just instantly raises the stakes, doesn't it? Almost unbearably.
Totally. Her desperation isn't just for herself, it's for her unborn child, fighting for a life that hasn't even started yet.
Makes her actions, her motivation, just incredibly visceral. It highlights the unimaginable depths of desperation that drive people to these games.
A reminder that for some, this is the only perceived path to hope. Horrifying.
Oh, truly.
And finally, Player X.
Ah, the mysterious one.
Shrouded in mystery, manipulative, seems to be playing a game within the game, spreading rumors, influencing things.
But the shocker. The sources confirm Player X is a saboteur, planted by the organizers.
Whoa. Okay, so an inside threat within the player pool itself.
Exactly. Strategic deception. Means even among the desperate, trust is impossible. Player X escalates the psychological warfare, turns every interaction into a potential trap, keeps everyone guessing.
Including us, the viewers.
Definitely. These new characters, they're not just filling slots. They contribute hugely to the themes. Trust, betrayal, desperation, exploitation.
These provide new lenses to view the games.
Precisely. No Eel forces us to think about the ethics of fighting corruption from within. Minjian amplifies the emotional stakes, that raw vulnerability.
And it underlines how the organization draws in such a diverse range of desperate people.
From all walks of life, political refugees, people in personal crises, all united by debt or despair. It shows the universal nature of vulnerability when you're pushed to the brink.
And how the games exploit that with chilling precision, always evolving their methods.
Their psychological manipulation just gets more sophisticated.
Okay, let's talk about those methods, the new games, because you might think you know what to expect after Season 1.
But they really up the ante.
Yeah, Season 2's games push boundaries, more intense psychological pressure, more complex moral choices, really unique mechanics.
Not just bigger versions of old games. These are designed to chip away at the mind, the resolve, the moral compass. Survival is mental as much as physical.
So Game 1, Human Maze, episodes 3 to 7.
Okay, picture this. A vast, disorienting maze. But the floors aren't static.
They shift.
Unpredictably, revealing time traps that snap shut. Instant, horrifying casualties. The sources describe sheer panic, mass chaos.
Nightmare fuel. But Gi-hun uses his experience here.
Exactly. He doesn't just run blindly. He remembers the game architect's twisted logic from Season 1, their obsession with patterns, manipulation, visual cues.
Like what?
He notices fleeting patterns in the shifting floors, maybe how the guards move sometimes betrays a safe path. He uses this understanding strategically.
Not just to save himself.
No, to gain trust. Guiding others, proving his value beyond just strength. He starts forging fragile alliances right there in the chaos, finding order in the pandemonium.
Thinking ahead of the game masters. Okay, then Game 2, Two Truths.
This one sounds brutal. High-stakes deduction, a test of perception and deception.
How does it work?
Players are paired up, blindfolded, they interrogate each other. Each states two truths and one lie about themselves.
And the partner has to guess the lie.
Right, and the losers fail to guess or have your lie discovered, you're shot immediately.
Pure psychological torture, playing Russian roulette with secrets.
Totally. The pressure is immense, judging someone based on intuition, a tremor in their voice.
And Gi-hun escapes this how? You said he turns the system against itself.
Yeah, it's clever. Instead of simple facts, he frames his statements with deep ambiguity or maybe meta-references to the game itself. So ambiguous that his partner, even the game masters, struggle to definitively pick the lie.
Exploiting a loophole in their rules.
Exactly. Forcing indecision, allowing it to slip through, shows his growing strategic brilliance. He's refusing to play by their deadly rules.
Okay, Game 3, Floating Stones. Sounds like the glass bridge.
It draws a direct, chilling parallel, but with terrifying differences.
Worse than the glass bridge. How?
Instead of concrete below, it's churning, dark water, an abyss. Suspended on precarious, unstable platforms. The core mechanic is similar. Choose the right stone, but they added psychological sabotage.
Oh, great. Like what?
Erratic, flickery lights plunging them into darkness, then blinding light. Distorted sounds, whispers, screams, unsettling music blasted through the arena.
An assault on the senses.
Completely. Designed to confuse, erode confidence, make choices even more terrifying. It elevates the tension way beyond physical challenge. It's an attack on sanity itself.
Pushing them to the edge. And the last one, Game 4, Line of Fate.
Players walk a narrow, treacherous path, high up. To balance, they hold on to ropes tethered along the way.
Okay, what's the twist?
Some ropes are deliberately frayed, ready to snap. Others are strong.
Oh no, so betrayals must be?
Rampant, horrifying dilemmas. Cut someone's rope to save yourself. Push someone off.
Grim. But you mentioned a key moment here,
Yeah.
Jungbei.
Yes. Amidst all the betrayal, a crucial, heart-wrenching moment. Gihun's rope starts fraying. Jungbei sees it. He makes an instantaneous choice. Sacrifices his own strong rope, knowing it means his end, to create a diversion or a way for Gi-hun to get stable footing.
Wow. He sacrifices himself for Gi-hun.
A profound act. It cements their bond, even in death, becomes a huge catalyst for Gi-hun's resolve. Emphasizes that theme of sacrifice, memory, that even in the darkest place, altruism can emerge.
A beacon in the darkness.
Beautifully put. These games, they're not just challenges, they're a masterclass in exploiting human psychology. Trust, desperation, everything.
Engineered psychological experiments.
Exactly. Pushing people to their breaking point, stripping away humanity, revealing the whole spectrum of behavior. It raises that question again. How do these games reflect the organization's evolving understanding of human nature?
Their capacity for cruelty just seems to grow more sophisticated.
Chillingly so. They engineer scenarios to highlight both brutality and altruism, They're not just killing machines. They're behavioral labs, confirming their cynical view of humanity.
Okay, so while Gi-hun is enduring that, Junho's investigation is bearing fruit.
Big time. His parallel investigation leads to the most shocking, truly horrifying discoveries, pulling back the curtain on the grotesque reality.
How? Where does he go?
The reports detail his infiltration of the control center, a sterile, chillingly efficient complex we haven't seen before, the nervous system of the operation.
What does he find there?
Amid surveillance monitors, data terminals, he unearths secrets that completely change our understanding of the games.
Like what? Give us the horrifying detail.
Okay, first reveal, maybe the most viscerally disturbing, the organ trafficking ring.
Organ trafficking? Seriously?
An industrial-scale operation. Eliminated players' bodies aren't just disposed of, they're harvested. Organs extracted, preserved, sold to the highest bidders among the VIPs.
Oh my God.
He finds ledgers, medical gear, cold storage units.
Yeah.
It elevates the games beyond just a death sport for entertainment.
It's a multi-layered criminal enterprise.
Rooted in absolute exploitation, treating human lives as disposable commodities. It connects directly to that theme of structural evil. It's embedded in a wider network of global crime, funded by the ultra-rich, literally consuming the poor.
That is beyond bleak. What else?
He finds files, extensive files on past winners.
The ones who survived.
Yeah. And what he learns is deeply unsettling. Some of them were re-recruited.
Re-recruited how? As players?
No, as loyal functionaries, guards, managers. Some even became frontmen themselves.
Wait, past winners became frontmen?
Some did. The report suggests some were broken, vulnerable to offers of power and comfort. Others, maybe already ruthless, found a place in the system.
It suggests the cycle.
A cyclical nature of power and corruption. The system perpetuates itself. Those who survive are either consumed by guilt or offered complicity, cogs in the evil they endured.
It integrates and corrupts its own survivors.
Exactly, ensuring its own longevity through manipulation, temptation, the promise of escaping the past by embracing the power.
So, okay, organ trafficking, re-recruited winners. What does this all mean? Junho's uncovering something huge, something deeply personal.
It leads to the ultimate stomach-dropping twist.
Yeah.
A revelation that redefines the entire series.
Lay it on us.
The truth about player 001, Oh Il-nam. The elderly man, seemingly benign.
Ingamo, Gi-hun's friend.
The very first game creator.
Yeah.
He had a son.
Il-nam had a son.
And that son is Hwang In-ho.
Hwang In-ho, that's...
The front man.
No, the front man is player 001's SON.
Yes.
Wow, okay. Mind blown.
Let's really unpack this, because it's not just a dramatic family twist. This means it's not just a game. It's a multi-generational cult of power, decadence, control.
It teaches everything about Season 1. Gi-hun's bond with Il-nam
becomes infinitely more twisted. A horrifying manipulation from the start. It reveals these deep, systemic, almost familial roots of the organization's evil.
That explains why it's so entrenched, so hard to dismantle.
It's not just an enterprise. It's a perverse legacy. Passed down, refined, perpetuated through bloodlines. This is the big aha moment for you, the listener, connecting the dots of the Empire's origins.
Inherited malevolence.
Chillingly accurate. The evil isn't just external, it's deeply personally rooted. The founder's own son carrying on the monstrous vision. A generational curse.
Okay, so while Junho is discovering that bombshell, back inside the games, rebellion.
A spark ignites. Desperate cry for agency. Gi-hun, with his deeper understanding, his alliance with Jung-bae and a few others, they start plotting an uprising.
A full-scale rebellion. How?
Meticulously planning, exploiting security lapses, using the chaos of the games, sheer desperate courage. They manage to take down some guards. Extremely, but born of necessity. And for a fleeting moment, a triumphant, breathtaking moment, they seize control of the surveillance room.
Wow. They see everything.
A brief taste of power. Seeing the true scope. A glimmer of hope they might actually fight back. It's incredibly powerful.
But it sounds like it doesn't last.
It's contained. But it has crucial, heartbreaking victories. Moments that resonate. Like, you know Eel's sacrifice.
The North Korean defector posing as staff, what does she do?
As they have momentary control of the surveillance room, she makes a stand. Knows the risk. Knows their time is short. Accesses the main server.
Oh.
Before she's shot by reactivating guards, she manages to broadcast a critical, unedited feed of the games live online.
She leaks it live.
Sacrifices her life to do it. A crucial, unprecedented act of exposure. The rebellion's first tangible, incredibly costly victory.
Her death isn't in vain.
Not at all. It highlights sacrifice and memory. Her final act ensures the world, even briefly, sees the hidden truth. a desperate cry for justice echoing out.
Sending shockwaves, and as that's happening, the confrontation we've been waiting for.
Jo-ho, face-to-face with his brother. In-ho, the front man.
Finally, after years of searching, presumed loss, now the horrifying truth. His own brother is the heart of this monstrosity.
Imagine the emotional weight. Trauma, betrayal, a desperate plea for understanding. It's a collision of worlds, a battle for a soul.
What happens in that confrontation?
It's not just family drama, it's symbolic, a clash of ideologies. In-ho, true to the organization's nature, tries to sway Jun-ho, offers power, wealth.
Tries to recruit him.
Tries to convince him to join, arguing the games just reveal humanity's true, brutal self. Embrace the darkness. It represents that seductive, corrupting nature of the organization, turning victims into perpetrators.
A test of Jun-ho's morals.
A huge test. It culminates in this tense, agonizing standoff. Brother pleading for redemption, the other offering a poisoned chalice.
Does Jun-ho get away?
Miraculously, yes. With critical, damning files he gathered on the VIPs, the global operations, but he's severely wounded in the process.
Leaving his future uncertain.
Ambiguous, but pivotal. It shows how deep the organization runs, fracturing families, preying on emotional bonds, highlights the immense personal cost of fighting this evil.
Okay. Deep breath. We reach the final game, episode 9. Hanging scale.
Chilling. Imagine this. The last 3 contestants, Gi-hun, player X, suspended high above an abyss on giant precarious scales.
How does that work?
It's about shifting weights to balance against each other. But ultimately, it's a test of sacrifice. The rules state only one can survive if the others don't cooperate, implying mutual destruction for a single winner.
The ultimate psychological torment. An impossible choice.
The scale swings wildly, tension unbearable, lives literally hanging in the balance.
How does it play out?
The outcomes are very telling. Reinforced character arcs, Gi-hun. He demonstrates his evolution, stares into the abyss of the game's cruelty, and refuses to play.
What does he do?
He makes a final act of defiance. He deliberately jumps, risks certain death, refuses to sacrifice anyone else or participate in the murder.
He jumps. Does he?
Miraculously, yes, he survives. Maybe a twist of fate, maybe the organizer's perverse curiosity, caught by a hidden safety net or something unexpected.
Yeah.
An act of rebellion rewarded almost.
And player X?
True to their nature, wheats their end, trying to selfishly manipulate the scale, tip it in their favor at others' expense, reinforces their role right to the bitter end.
So Gi-hun's choice, it's the capstone to his arc.
Exactly. No longer just surviving, actively choosing a moral path, even if it means self-destruction. Profound growth from the traumatized survivor of Season 1. He found his purpose.
And then the aftermath. Rescue.
A fragile moment of triumph. Gi-hun, battered but alive, is rescued by Jun-ho, wounded but there, with his intelligence agency contact.
A sense of accomplishment. Maybe they won.
A flicker of hope. But as we quickly learn, it's short-lived. The organization's power is revealed once more.
How so?
The ending is complex, deliberately ambiguous, no neat bow. First, the leak. You know Yule's footage.
Gets out, causes outrage.
Spreads like wildfire. Global outrage, protests, condemnations, calls for justice. Massive blow against their secrecy.
But
Despite the fury, the organizers prove incredibly resilient. They vanish, without a trace. An astonishing capacity for coordinated disappearance.
the VIP network covers it up.
Their power, their reach, formidable. They silence witnesses, manipulate media, bribe officials, erase evidence, make the footage look like a hoax.
So, is true justice even possible against that kind of power?
That's the chilling question, isn't it? Highlights the theme of structural evil's resilience. Exposing a system is one thing, dismantling it when it's woven into global power, much harder.
And the characters' fates.
Unrevolved. Jun-ho, driven by vengeance, armed with files, disappears again. His fight continues, maybe alone, in the shadows. And Gi-hun, left with that profound choice.
Run and hide, or...
Keep fighting. Dedicate his life to bringing down an evil that seems impossible to defeat.
Which brings us to that final image, Gi-hun boarding a train.
Potent, haunting, heading into unknown territory. Not a final destination, a clear signal. His fight is far from over.
His journey continues, from survivor to rebel.
Leaving us with that lingering question. What's his next move? And what does it really take to bring down an empire like this? The fight seems endless.
Wow. Okay, let's try and synthesize the big themes here. Not just what happened, but why it matters.
Right. First, redemption and responsibility. Gi-hun's arc starts burdened by guilt, transforms into this deliberate, active rebel.
Fighting for something larger than himself.
Exactly. For justice, atonement, preventing future victims, shows how purpose can arise from pain.
Then power corrupts.
We see it starkly, with the re-recruited winners becoming guards, even frontmen. Victims becoming perpetrators when offered control.
And in the smaller betrayals within the games, too.
Yeah, seemingly good people bending or breaking under pressure. Shows how corruption infects individuals, the immense moral costs. Power warps the conscience.
And the big one, structural evil.
The core takeaway, really, the games aren't isolated. They're a symptom of a larger global exploitation system.
The organ trafficking, the re-recruited winners, the multi-generational cult aspect.
It all underscores this systemic malevolence. Not just a few bad apples. It's entrenched, inherited, institutionalized evil rooted in global power structures.
Truly chilling. And finally, sacrifice and memory.
Huge focus this season. Emotional loss, the moral costs of fighting. We see it in Jung Bae's selfless act for Gi-hun.
That enduring human connection.
And critically, Yoon Oh-il's self-immolation to broadcast the games, exposing the truth at the ultimate cost.
Yeah.
These acts of courage, these losses, they underscore the stakes, the emotional toll.
And they fuel Gi-hun's fight. They're not forgotten.
Precisely. These themes elevate the show, right? Beyond just thrills, it becomes this powerful commentary on society, the human condition.
It really does. Makes you think. About power, wealth, morality. Which I guess raises a question for you listening. Given how resilient the games are, despite being exposed, what does that say about our capacity for both systemic cruelty and extraordinary kindness when pushed to the limit? What an incredible, honestly harrowing journey through Squid Game Season 2. From Gi-hun's haunted return and decision to fight back.
To Jin-ho's investigation, the shocking family reveals the frontman's identity.
And those desperate, costly attempts at rebellion that finally, fleetingly, exposed the games. It's been a real roller coaster, suspense, moral dilemmas, profound human drama.
And it leads us to that final provocative thought, something for you to mull over. The games were exposed, the world was horrified, but the organizers vanished. The VIP network covered their tracks.
Right.
So what does this ambiguous ending truly say about power, about global exploitation, about the long, hard fight against these entrenched systems of evil? Is exposing the truth enough?
Or is more needed relentless, maybe even generational action to truly dismantle forces that seem untouchable?
That's the question.
Gi-hun is left with that choice, boarding that train. His fight, maybe the world's fight against this kind of insidious power, it's clearly far from over, leaves us thinking about his path and maybe about confronting power structures in their world and perhaps in our own.